Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Uzma Siddique, your Islamiat teacher. The students must not skip the necessary aspects of the topic. For this, we have to revise to make sure that whatever the topics were given to you during the last weeks must be understood and covered by you properly. In order to help you, a list of vocabulary and terms is also provided. Our topic is History and Importance of Holy Quran. We will go through under discussions that what is Quran, why was it revealed, how was it revealed, to whom or which prophet was it revealed, who was the source of communication between Allah Almighty and the mankind, what were the major themes of the Quran, what is the structure of Quran or the surahs, what is the main topic of Quran, what are the duties which are assigned to the mankind, and etc. Let's proceed. The Holy Quran is a complete book and best guidance for the mankind. It has certain attributes. Attributes means the universal qualities, and these attributes are universal, comprehensive, eternal, and it also states and witnesses about the seal of prophethood. So, universal means for all the world, for all the mankind, for all the areas. It is not area dependent. That doesn't mean that the Quran was revealed only for the Arabs. Rather, it is revealed for the non Arabs and the whole of the mankind, either black or red or rich or poor, till the day of judgment. Similarly, it is comprehensive. That means it deals with all the regular and complex matters of the daily life, and it also encourages the Muslims to perform good deeds and to avoid those deeds which can be a result in their anger of Allah Almighty. The revelations generally mean the signs. In Arabic, it is called ayah or ayat. The Holy Quran was revealed into many stages. Generally and believed it is they were the three stages. The first of all was Lohe Mahfuz. The Lohe Mahfuz is called the personal tablet or diary of Allah Almighty. And then it was revealed to the lowest heaven of the world, and then from the heaven to the Holy Prophet ﷺ in a span of 23 years. He started to receive these revelations at the age of 40 and ended till he was almost 62 and a half years. And the being, the creation of Allah Almighty chosen for this divine purpose, it was an angel known as Jibril. So Jibril alayhi salam brought the revelations in a nearby cave in a mountain called Mount Nur, and the cave was called Mount Hira. The Quran declares the Jibril alayhi salam as Ruhul Amin, and it is witnessed in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 97. Similarly, in Surah Shu'ara, verse number 193. My dears, here I assign you a little activity. With the help of your elders, I want you to open the Holy Quran and go through these verses and also the translation. You will immediately catch up the word Ruhul Amin, and that Ruhul Amin is means that embodiment, that Sadiq, that trustworthy and honest spirit who carried the worthy message of Allah Almighty and conveyed it to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now, when this mission was started, it started from the word Iqra, which means read. So this mission is continued. The Muhammad's followers are increased and multiplied on daily basis. Now let's come to the major themes of the Holy Quran. There are multiple themes of Holy Quran, but for your understanding at the pupil of your age, I categorize them in three. Number one is God to Himself. Allah introduces Himself. Allah speaks about Him. Allah explains about Him. And Allah eradicates all those bad and corrupt concepts which are not related to Him. Number two, God's relations to His creations. So Allah invites a man to ponder, to think about himself, his place, his duties, because he is a deputy of Allah Almighty, the Caliph of Allah Almighty. And the third thing is that Allah's relation to His prophets or His apostles. Now the prophets and apostles are all those which started from Hazrat Adam alayhi salam till Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So, with the passage of time, we'll come to know more about these details. Now, I proceed towards another major topic, that is about the structure of the Holy Quran. Generally, the structure of the Holy Quran is the surahs. The surahs are the chapters of Holy Quran, which are 114. So, the Prophet ﷺ was guided by Allah Almighty to place these chapters into their chronological order. That means that these surahs are not placed according to the way they were revealed. They have a different serial, and that was not decided by the Prophet himself. Rather, it was the divine inspiration, the divine guidance, the divine decision that organized and arranged the placement of the surahs in their right order. So let's come back to Makki surahs. It has certain features. You must have read through your books, but for revision, I want you to bring your focal point to them. The Makki surahs are those surahs which are definitely talking about oneness of Allah Almighty, that is Tawheed, and then about prophethood, and then about the day of judgment, and then the concept of hell and heaven, and the concept of accountability. That means whatever man is doing, he should be alert, because one day one has to be answerable to the deeds. Another thing is that these surahs address the people as O you mankind. And these are the surahs, sometimes they start with non-connected alphabets. For example, if you happen to open the Holy Quran, you will see that they start with names Hamim, Qaf, Yasin, Alif Lam Mim, etc. So these surahs are generally for the necessities of the need of fear of Allah Almighty, about His power, about His knowledge, and about the moral values in the people. Let's come and discuss about Madni Surahs. The Madni Surahs, after a hard and struggle of 10 years of Prophet's life in Medina, he was able to understand and to make it shifted the knowledge towards his followers was in the form of Madni Surahs. They are generally detailed teachings. You can say that they are longer one. They talk about the complex matters of social, economical, and spiritual aspects of life. They invite the people to advise, to uh, to to advise others, and to abstain from the bad deeds. They talk about and they handle about the matters of war, for example Surah Al-Anfal, and the defeat, the victory, the war possessions, the preaching, the permissions and not permissions, for example halal and haram, that is allowed and not allowed acts and the things. And they usually start with "O you who believe." So here this is the all discussion and revision with more knowledge of the topics which we have covered in the previous week. Similarly, another thing which we covered was about the compilation and preservation of the Holy Quran during the time period of the caliphs. For that, I also assigned you certain questions. I hope that today's discussion will also help you out to complete your previous notes in first 2 days of the week. Now let's talk about the scribes. Who were the scribes? The scribes were generally 40 or 42 in number, but they were actually many. They were the companions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who were the real lovers of him. They were very keen when he used to recite the surahs. I would like to quote a great companion of Prophet ﷺ, Abu Huzaifa radhiyallahu anhu. And why he is so famous? Huzaifa used to learn the surahs, at least 70 surahs from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And there is another famous name by Abdullah bin Mas'ud radhiyallahu anhu. So that is why the Prophet ﷺ was so sweet and so soothing in his voice that he shifted this heavy responsibility to his followers. Amongst them is a great name, that is Zaid bin Sabit radhiyallahu anhu. Now, my dears, you have gone through about the services of Zaid bin Sabit in the preservation of Quran. Today's question for this week, first two classes, is about to search about the biography of Zaid bin Sabit radhiyallahu anhu. In order to help you out, let me tell you a little bit about him. Zaid bin Sabit radhiyallahu anhu was a very brave, very courageous, and very enthusiastic companion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He aged between 610 AD till 665 AD. He was an Ansari, and he was only 13 years old when the first time he wanted to appear in the Battle of Badr. When the people of Prophet Muhammad SAW were gathering against the Meccans, a youth person, a child, tender child of 13 years old, stood up to the Prophet ﷺ with great confidence, and he was holding a sword. And amazingly, the sword was longer to his height, and he wished to participate into the battle. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ appreciated his courage, his passion, but did not enlist him due to his tender age. The next year, in the Battle of Uhud, he again wished to participate in the battle. But again, the Prophet ﷺ did not enlist him, did not consider him to fight at front due to his young age. But at last, after 5 years, in the Battle of Tich, which is generally known as Ghazwa Khandak, he was hardly at any age of 16 and he got the chance to participate as a warrior. So Zad's name, Zad bin Sabit Razilatala's name is not only famous in the preservation and compilation of the Holy Quran, rather he had been a great spirit and passion of jihad as well. So, my dears, here we are completed with this topic, and I want you to practice one more question. That write down a detailed note on Hazrat Zaid bin Sabit Razila Anhu, and it has two aspects. Number one is his relation to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and number two is his services to the cause of Islam. Here ends the topic of first 2 days. Now we will shift to the next topic. Everybody knows that during this week, the great holy month of Ramadan is to be started. So I have decided to shift your next teaching towards the five pillars of Islam, Saum or fasting. Now, fasting is the English word used for Saum, that is the Arabic word, and in Urdu we say it Rosa. What is fasting? Fasting is one of the five pillars of Islam, an obligatory duty upon the Muslims, just like prayer or salah, and it was made obligatory along with zakah in second year of Hijrah, after the migration. Now, this is the ninth lunar month of Ramadan, and there are certain verses in the Holy Quran which also talk about the significance, and there are multiple hadiths which talk about the reward of the fasting and everything relevant to it. Now, what is fasting? Definitely, Shahrul Ramadan allazi unzila fihi al-Quran. Ramadan is the month in which we sent down the Quran as a guide to mankind. So, every one of you who is present at his own home during this month should spend in fasting. But anyone, if he is ill or in journey, the prescribed period can be made later up. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 185. Similarly, I will speak a little bit in Urdu here that Allah के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया कि तुम में से जिसने भी शाहरु रमज़ान यानी रमज़ान का महीना पाया और रोज़ों से इज्तनाब किया तो वो हलाक हुआ. इसी तरह से अल्लाह के नबी ने कहा that असौमु ली व अना अजज़ी बिही, fasting is for me and I am going to surely reward for it. So these are the things. Since childhood we are going through these topics, but with each class our level of maturity increases. So I want you to focus upon the major advantages of fasting, that fasting is not for punishment or self torture. Rather, it is very much practice for to achieve God's closeness, अल्लाह की कुर्बत, अल्लाह के नज़दीक जाने को, अल्लाह के फेवर्स को पाने को दिल करता है. So Allah wishes to teach us self-restraint and to make us righteous and God-fearing. Now self-restraint means sabir, shakir, self-control, means all the allowed acts which usually we enjoy throughout the year become suddenly stopped, banned during the time of suhoor and iftar. And similarly, why we do so? Because we want to be righteous, नेक, पाकीज़ा, अल्लाह के महबूब लोगों में शामिल होना चाहते हैं, the good doers, and God fearing means the muttaqi ones. So this is about the fasting. and its importance in the light of references of Quran and Hadith. I want you to put a little light upon one thing. While my dears, you pen down your answers, I want you be to extra careful while writing your translations. Never try to produce your translations of a Quranic verse or a Hadith into your own English or any other medium. It is a serious mistake. So, how to do it? You have to prepare your key notes by listening to the lectures, by reading the particular books and the pages which are being advised to you, and to memorize these references. You should be sharp and clever enough to immediately fit the reference wherever it is required. There is no need to learn a plenty of references. Just 3 to 4 verses and 3 to 4 ahadiths is enough for this year or this whole period of the time when you are staying at home. So the keynote, again, I want you to do it. The certain points are being noted by me, and they are reflected upon the screen. I want you to note them down and utilize the sources which are provided you, the help in the way of book and etc., and make up and prepare an assignment which is about that. Describe the significance of the month of Ramadan in the life of the Muslims. Number 2, discuss the way the Muslims observe their fasting. I hope the key points are given below. They would be a great source of help. At the end, always prepare yourself for a very great Ramadan. This will not be a usual Ramadan this year, it will be a quite different one with different messages. We all are staying at home. I wish everybody to stay at home with safety and with safe soundedness of its uh, iman. Ramadan 2020 will not be the usual one, it will be the best one ever. I want you to chalk out a list of your objectives and your targets during this Ramadan. What are the plans? What are your wishes for this Ramadan? In order to help you out, let me tell you how would you be a better organized Muslim during this Ramadan. For your guidance, I can furnish you one point, and I welcome the rest from your part. And my first point is that to control teenage spoiled bedtime means to bring some discipline in your bed and the life under the roof of your home. So I hope you all are quite intelligent and you are understanding what I want you to convey. Much love and stay happy and safe at home. Allah Hafiz.